Back here with Coach Mangini, we're talking Dallas Cowboys. So they finished their season with a loss to the Rams. Overall, a good year for Dallas. After starting the year 3-5, they won 10 regular season games, and they got Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott their first ever playoff win. But according to Cowboys COO Stephen Jones, this Dallas team needs to continue to get better in the future.
We've got to build on this, take the next step next year, and I think we've got a good young team that can certainly have success, but, certainly we weren't good enough to get the job done. You are what you are, and we got eliminated in the divisional round, and we've got to do better than that.
It seems obvious, Coach, but if you really break it down and look at it, where can this team get better moving forward, starting with next season?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the coaching staff. They wiped out pretty much everybody last year and reset in that area, and then they wiped out the O-line coach during the season, so I don't know if there's going to be any transition from that perspective. You hope that they're going to have continuity there. And
I think they've said that that's at least the plan, at least on the offensive side of the ball.
Scott Linehan.
Yeah, now we'll see. We'll see whether that stays the plan moving forward. Now, the idea of building off a season, it's a little bit of a false
misnomer
premise, because you don't get to start where you finished, and that's one of the traps that you get into. Hey, we went to the divisional round, we went to the playoffs, we did this.
Who cares?
It doesn't matter. You have to do all the things that you did well a lot better the next season in order to even get remotely close to where you were. And then what are they building off of? They were going to run the ball, they were going to stop the run, and at the end of the day, that's what killed them. They couldn't stop the run.
Yes.
They couldn't run the ball. So do they philosophically have to change the type of defensive lineman that they have, or the linebackers that they have, or was that an aberration?
Wouldn't that be overreacting?
Well, that's a great point, Nick. Is it an aberration, or is it something that was exposed in that game that maybe other people hadn't figured out?
Or based on injury, based on specifics, maybe the offensive line, we get Travis Frederick back from his syndrome that he has. That would help that offensive line, so that helps fortify being what we want to be. And defensively, if I just change those defensive tackles and get some more space eaters compared to undersized guys, that would help me with the investment that I've made in the linebackers, Coach.
Yeah, and those are all those decisions that you have to go through. Now, you don't have a #1 draft pick. You've got X amount of money in terms of the cap, but what do you do with Amari Cooper? What do you do
got
with
$50 million, but it's like $50 based on some of the stuff they got out there pending.
What do you do with Dak Prescott? He's scheduled to make $800,000 next year. Is he going to be okay with that? Are they? There's $50 million looks like a lot of money right now.
It's not, though.
But yeah, you start giving out bonuses, you start bumping people up. Suddenly, you have the same team that you had last year. They're just making more money.
That is the exact situation I think they're going to be in, which is why they need Frederick back. They need their all-pro offensive linemen to actually be that in Zach Martin and Tyron Smith. And they need not only Zeke to maintain, but Dak to jump a level, because it's $50 million. Let's say they move on from Sean Lee, which they might. I think they probably will, or at a greatly reduced salary. Now you have $57 million. But DeMarcus Lawrence was franchise tagged. You got to bring him back. He's your best pass rusher. You're really only, to me, legitimate pass rushing threat.
And he's the only dependable player. They got a couple guys up there you can't depend on them.
So let's just call that $18 million. Now that 57, even you get rid of Sean Lee, now you're down to 39. Dak, everyone in the world that's with in the Jerry Jones's orbit seems to say he's getting an extension now. Okay, $800,000 to call it around $20 million, and that is the lowest end of the quarterback salary scale. Now you got about 19. Amari has to get paid.
On the low end, he's getting $16 million.
Okay, and now Zeke's getting paid too. All your money's gone. Like, now they're in a nice position where last year they had $31 million of dead money. Almost all that's gone. Like, they ate the Dez Bryant contract all at once. The Romo deal's finally off the books. Witten is their only piece of dead money, I think, moving forward.
He might be coming back.
We'll see. And so this is going to be their team. It's going to be, I thought you put it brilliantly. Same players, just more expensive. Now, you can look at it and say they won 8 of 9. They won 8 of 9. You know what? They ran into a 13-win, rested, really good team on the road, and that's going to happen. The other way to look at it is it's also the team that started 3-5, and which one is more accurate to who they will be next season.
It's also understanding who you are. It's in, and we talk about this all the time. We'll talk about it next year at the beginning of the year. It's who do you want to be versus who you need to be. And the Cowboys eventually figured out who they needed to be, and they did make the move with Amari Cooper during the middle of the season, which worked out great. But can they go into this offseason? Can they identify some needs? Can they put that together? And can they really start the season with a true understanding of who they need to be as opposed to who they want to project?
Is it a given that Dak, DeMarcus, Zeke, and Amari are all going to get paid? Is it possible that they're just going to keep 3 and try to save something for what they actually need?
Well, Amari, Zeke, and Dak are 100% without question on the team next year, and they're under contract for next year. DeMarcus is the only one that could leave. But that doesn't mean all 3 of those first guys are getting paid. Amari has to get paid. Dak and Zeke don't have to be paid now. I know coach philosophy. Coach say, why am I paying them? I don't got to pay him. I can franchise tag him. I can do this. I think Coach wouldn't pay those guys. But
based on these 3 things, based on Todd Gurley got a new deal in his 3rd year, so Zeke's going to follow that precedent. Dak, he's making $800,000. Most quarterbacks, when they go into that deal, because he wasn't the first rounder, you don't have that 5th-year option. So you could franchise him. He could play under the $800,000. Amari, you've already traded a first-round pick for him. He is due to. He's up for his 5th-year option, so you have to extend that. That's the price of doing business for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll look at contracts that you currently have, and you may ask those guys to take pay cuts and make adjustments. And look, you give one person money, it's got to come from somewhere else. The other option is that you use the credit card and you push it out in the future. It just depends on, do they think this is their window, and is paying those guys going to make them play better? Is it what does that mean? How does that help us grow?
I do believe that these 3 superstars on their offense have like kindred spirits. I do believe that Dak, Amari, and Ezekiel could come together, and if they wanted to establish the triplets for a long time, that each one of them, if they made a little compromise, then they would be able to do this for a long time. I believe that they have the temperament. I do believe especially Dak and Ezekiel have the relationship. Amari, they brought him into the fold, and they love him. He fits in. So that, if they were able to do that type of deal, that would be the best thing for Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones.
You back here tomorrow, Coach?
I am.
All right, let's do this again. We'll talk some football. Coming up, can Kyler Murray prove the doubters wrong and make it as an NFL quarterback? That's next on First Things First.
You gonna make it tomorrow, Jenna?
I had a little stroke there for a